Welcome to today's 10-minute CEO interview. Today, I have a special guest, Ralf Kaiser. Ralf Kaiser is the CEO of Integrated Compliance Solutions, or ICS. It's a merchant service business. I want to welcome you to the show, Ralf.
Thanks very much for having me, John. It's my pleasure to be here.
So we've got 10 minutes, as you know the format, so I'm going to keep these brief, the questions. Tell me a little bit about your business and what you do better than everybody else.
ICS, we specialize in bank compliance and merchant processing, and we enable our bank partners to complete complex but very lucrative complex transactions. And the thing that we do really better than anyone else is that compliance work. We keep our banks on the right side of the regulators, whether we're helping them accept a marijuana-related business as a deposit client, or we're helping our banks that are doing the payment processing with us to accept CBD online stores or bricks and mortar stores as clients. We keep them compliant.
Or just give me an example of a client that what you did. They weren't taking credit cards before. Now they are, and what happened?
I can give you really one quick example on the CBD side of it. It's an online store. They were very much struggling with just even conducting business, John, because they could not accept credit cards. Their existing payment processor shut them down. We stepped in. We helped them now be able to transact business, to be able to allow their online store to accept credit card and debit card payment via their shopping cart. With banks on the deposit side, we've helped banks increase EBITDA by as much as 33%, getting into the lucrative sector of cannabis banking and doing that on a compliant basis.
Well, I know a lot of CBD companies, the little cannabis companies, and they gotten turned down numerous times or got going, and all of a sudden the bank or the processor figured it out and shut them down. Like, what's different?
Well, see, that's a great point. If they get shut down after the fact, then there wasn't the necessary compliance work that was done ahead of getting them into the payment processing and essentially a client. That's what we do. We do an exceptional amount of work on the enhanced due diligence side of it. And we do ongoing monitoring of that business. We look at all of their product lines. We make sure we really understand it. John, it's a robust compliance system.
So you're not really going through first data. The reason I know this is I work for Intuit. Intuit bought a large merchant processing company, and then I with along another partner, rolled out the merchant services to all the teams, and we were able to sell tons of it, and it's reoccurring revenue, which is very nice.
It is. That's what we like about our business model, John. It is recurring revenue. See, ICS, we acquired our own tier 1 payment switch called Greenlight Payments back in 2018.
Okay, here's the technology you want to hear about. This is it right here. That's the key differentiator.
It very much is. And what we did was we took our proprietary compliance technology at ICS that we do with our banks and we work with to successfully onboard marijuana-related businesses. And we plugged that into Greenlight Payments, the payment switch. So now we get the best of all worlds, which is all of the enhanced due diligence, all of the compliance work at the ICS level, and the payment processing capabilities that we have with Greenlight Payments that allows us to offer that payment processing to CBD entities through Greenlight Payments, our subsidiary.
So if a company sees this video tomorrow and says, oh my God, I got to get this guy, how long does this process take, and tell me what's involved?
It would depend if it's a CBD entity requiring payment processing, or it would depend if it's a financial institution that wants to start banking the sector. If it's a financial institution that wants to bank the sector, they can certainly reach out to me and we'll start the process. If it's a CBD entity that's in desperate need of payment processing, again, they can reach out to me here on LinkedIn. You know, if they're friends of yours, John, we'll see what we can do to speed up the process.
There you go. I should sign up and become an affiliate, I guess, huh?
Yeah. That's right.
So what's the goal of the company? What's the next step? What are you trying to do?
Our next step is to now enter our next growth phase. We've already grown by acquisition. We've made 2 acquisitions. We did Greenlight Payments back in 2018 and the wonderful sterling compliance in 2019. And we are going public, John. We're going to be the first cannabis banking compliance firm that's a public entity, and we're doing an IPO, and that's going to allow us to have a platform to grow by acquisition. And we're really excited about that, whether we buy payment processing portfolios, ISOs, whether it be other payment processing, whatever that is, that's part of our strategic plan to very much grow by acquisition.
And Canadian Security Exchange?
It is. It's a tongue twister. That's exactly it. Canadian Securities Exchange. We'll look to dual list in the U.S. Side of it as well. But the Canadian Securities Exchange really accepts fintech companies, particularly those that do a bit of the cannabis world as we do. Richard Carlton and his team over there at the CSE have been just treating us so well. So we're excited about that process.
Beautiful. So you're CEO. I know a little bit about ICS. It's been in operation for a couple of years. You took this role how long ago?
Well, ICS has been in existence since 2014. We actually have been used by more marijuana-related businesses and more banks than anyone else in this sector right now. And I took on the role back in October of last year, but I joined ICS just over 2 years ago now. And I took on the role in order to help take the company public. John, if you haven't detected one yet, probably because I haven't gotten excited enough about talking about ICS, but I'm actually Canadian. So I'm coming to you from Canada today. And that's part of the strategy that we have via the CSE. But we are formerly a Las Vegas based company and have our headquarters there. But I'm going to be spending some time here in Canada as part of our IPO process.
Awesome. Tell me about the biggest challenge you've had to overcome right now, or what's the biggest hurdle in front of you?
It's the stigma about cannabis at a financial institution. That is the biggest challenge that we have. It was back in 2014, the same year that ICS started, that the FinCEN, or the Department of Treasury, plus the Department of Justice, they came together through consultative agreements and consultative meetings and put together the FinCEN guidelines. It's those guidelines, John, that allow any financial institution in the U.S. to accept a marijuana-related business as a client. So it's a bit of a myth when we read they can't do it. They can. It's very complex due diligence and compliance that needs to be done, and that's what ICS does.
Yeah. So what is the roadmap here? What does winning look like to ICS in a year, the end of 12 months, end of 24, 36?
Well, for us, it's certainly to really measure out and execute on this strategic plan of growing by acquisition. We're very much enjoying some very high multiples within the fintech sector, as that's really how we're defined. One of the verticals that we do work in is the cannabis world, of course, so we see a lot of growth in that area. So between being a fintech, which is fast growing, the banking sector has seen great growth lately as well. Obviously, the cannabis sector is as well. So we want to continue to grow and have that public entity to facilitate growing by acquisitions, with a focus on the payment processing side of it, and working with some other underserved verticals.
First part of this question is, what's the multiple you'll see in for merchant service accounts? And two, these acquisitions, a mixture of cash and equity based upon pre-IPO or post?
Well, first of all, on the multiple side of it, we can see payment processing, the entire sector, be anywhere between, I'm going to give you a wide range because it really depends on the entity, but it's anywhere between 15 to 25 times the multiples that some of these entities are transacting at. That's the positive side of being a public entity, because we have another form of currency. And when a lot of our target acquisition companies that we either have done or that we are in discussions with see our strategic plan and our growth trajectory, they love to partner with us and be part of the acquisition mode through the share. We're open to that. It really depends on the acquisition. It's not a matter of all cash or all shares.
So We're out of time. If somebody is a CB company, they want to get in touch with you, How do they do that?
Well, the best way to do that is through right here on LinkedIn. They can reach out to me. They can reach out to you, John. You're very well known here on LinkedIn, that's for sure. So they can certainly do that. They can come to our website as well, icslv.com.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ralph. This
Thanks,
is a
John.
solution the industry definitely needs. Really appreciate it.
We're excited about it. Thanks for having me, John. Really
All right.
appreciate this today, too.